welcome to another episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. Folks, it's our job to give you the most interesting tidbits in world sports, entertainment, odd news, and whatever else we happen to stumble across. Isn't that right, Mike?
That's right. We bring it to you with our unique sense of humor and wackiness. You never know what you're going to get here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
That's right. We have a couple topics prepared for you on this week's episode, but, sometimes we'll go off the beaten path. This is an hour-long podcast.
Yeah.
We ebb and flow. We'll get you the news, but there may be just some detours that we have to take sometimes.
That's right. We let the current take us where it will.
Yes. Very philosophical. Yes. There you
Sure.
go. Before we get into all of the news at hand and all the deep wisdom talk that we might get into, Mikey, my friend, how you doing? What's happening in Costanzo country?
I'm doing good. I finished Sandman recently.
Good
the
show.
Netflix
Good
original, yeah. Speaking of philosophy and all that abstractness, it was a really, really interesting show. Loved the world. Loved the characters. Loved the, at times it got very heady, very, I guess philosophical. The two episodes that stick out to me are the diner episode.
Oh, yeah. The diner episode's a killer.
And the episode where the one character is just walking around with death. And I was like, this is such a cool way to talk about this subject.
Yeah.
But the whole show was fantastic. Like I said, such a brilliantly realized world. So if people haven't seen it yet, definitely go check it out.
Yep.
Strongly recommend it.
Yep. Available on Netflix.
Yep. Makes me want to read the graphic novel. I have it. I have a massive tome of the graphic novel that I purchased on, I think it was a Prime Day like years ago. And like everything else good,
You have your own waiting list on reading material.
Reading material, Netflix, everything. Movies, everything. I recommend things, I buy things, then immediately forget about them.
But you did not forget about Sandman.
No, I
because
eventually
you recommended it on the show.
I did. I eventually got back to it after everyone else.
Yep. So that's what matters here is that you do listen to Mike's This Week in Entertainment.
That's right.
Yes, very important.
I get some things right.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
But what have you been up to recently?
Yeah, I guess just watching football and a lot of we've been trying to have people come and visit Phoenixville now.
Okay.
Now I don't know if we're as far as the president said that we're over COVID, but I do feel like there is now the sense that okay, we can hang out now again. We can go to the bars. We can, try new establishments, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So, basically, that's been our job. The last couple of days off has been, hey, come down to Phoenixville.
Just trying to get people over.
Yeah. See the town. We got the Colonial Theater. Woo!
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. We want to.
No, there's a lot of really cool little things there in that town. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a very exciting town, and we just had a couple of things over the weekend where we were having people over and stuff. So
nice.
Yeah, and that takes up the weekend too. Is by the time you get to Friday, Saturday, Sunday's all football.
Yep.
It's like that's it. There goes the weekend.
Just like that.
I can't sacrifice football.
No, you have to have football.
Yes. So if you book one of those 2 days, there it is. That's the whole weekend is
That's
shot.
The whole weekend, exactly.
So no, but I think I speak on behalf of us that it's our pleasure to report on football because
we love our football.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, how do we survive the time that there isn't football?
I don't know. We have to talk about things like basketball and golf and baseball and all. It's just this nonsense. But luckily, it is football season, Rich. You know what that means.
So let's do the official kickoff. Let's go into the sports sampler.
So you're not good at sports. It's a very small part of life.
Sports. In your face.
And yes, it's football time.
It's motherfucking goddamn sons of bitchin' fucking football.
Yes. Football just works so perfectly because it goes week by week basis. It fits well for our podcast. And you know what? It goes even better when the Eagles have a dominant primetime Monday night football victory win.
Woo! Mamma mia!
Boobies.
What does this guy think he's an Indian?
Like such as?
Yeah, it's been a while since we broke out the official victory music. But
It's good to have it back, though.
yeah, but you know, the talk around the league is the Philadelphia Eagles dominating the Vikings on Monday Night Football, 24-7, starting the season off 2-0, and Jalen Hurts looking pretty good. Very rarely has he been making mistakes. This defense, for the most part, other than a very poor second half against the Lions, has been very formidable against opposing offenses. This is an interesting way to start the season, don't you think?
Yes, it has been very interesting. I think it's much different than... So, I thought that the Eagles were going to do decently this season. I thought they were probably going to get about maybe 10 or 11 wins. But this last win against the Vikings was a pretty commanding win.
Yeah.
Like on all, other than special teams, all the different facets of the game were clicking at one point. And the big talk, of course, has been Jalen Hurts. You always make fun of me with the he's not the guy clip.
Before I play it, where does he rank now? Is he still the guy?
So
is he not the guy?
Is this going to be a weekly thing?
Yeah,
is he the
need
guy?
I need a meter. We
Okay.
need the Mike Jalen Hurts meter. Is he the man or is he not the? Is he the guy or is he not the guy?
So
where does he stand on the pendulum?
Is it only those two options?
I think those are the two extremes of the spectrum.
Okay.
Where does he sit on that spectrum?
So if it is a spectrum, what I'm going to say is he is becoming the guy, but he's not quite the guy yet.
Okay, we should do this as a weekly segment,
right?
And because I already have the clip.
You have the clip.
You are not the guy. You're not capable of being the guy. I had a guy, but now I don't. You are not the guy.
So that's what I was thinking that this was going to go, but apparently this is now gone the other way on the guy spectrum,
which is how we want it to go.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want it to go back to him not being the guy. Right now he's trending towards being the guy. I saw a lot of really positive things out of him. So one of the big complaints from last year is that he doesn't throw deep. He doesn't really challenge the defensive backs. You saw him go deep a couple times in the game. You saw him make a couple of, throws of different lengths, different distances.
He had that big bomb to Quez Watkins.
Big bomb, which was you love to see. I like the fact that he was at one point he was 11 for 11.
Yeah.
You take last year where he was averaging just over 50%, and in this game he finishes 26 of 31. I mean, he very rarely missed. I mean, it was really, really amazing and refreshing to see. Now, there's still some things that I'd like to see out of Hurts. I still want to see somehow more zip on those intermediate routes because there were a few there where I'm like, man, really showing the fact that for as much as he can bench, they made a big deal out of how much he could bench press. He doesn't have the zip on those short intermediate routes. So if his timing is off, he doesn't have the power to get it there in those tight windows. And I saw an interesting stat that the Eagles were near the bottom in terms of average distance between receiver and defensive player. Or rather, they had the most distance between receivers and the closest defensive player. Meaning he's not throwing into tight windows. He's not being challenged yet by cornerbacks. And when you play those elite corners and you play those elite defenses, is he going to be able to complete those same passes when the defender is blanketing those receivers? Now, the other side of the argument is, well, Mike, the receivers are just that good. I mean, you may be right. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith might just be creating that much separation, and we don't have to worry about the tight windows. I don't quite buy that. There's going to be times where he's going to have to make, those classic, little bullet zip passes, 5-6 yards right there, in front of the line of scrimmage. And I don't know if he's going to be able to have the arm strength to really get it in those tight windows. The other thing that I'd like to see more of is just more passing touchdowns. I know he's getting it done with his legs, but time and time again.
Yeah, he's only had one passing touchdown.
He's only had one passing touchdown, and time again, it's McNabb, it's Vic, it's Lamar Jackson, it's literally every scrambling quarterback you can think of. They either have to evolve their game and learn how to pass, or they don't.
Yep, and they flame out.
So I want to see that evolution. That is, everybody talks about him taking the next step this season. That's the next step. Get it done with your arm as well, because the league favors passers, and they favor the passing game. So if you can't get it done in the air, it's going to be very hard to get it done in general.
Yep, that's true.
So he's becoming the guy, but Rich, play it.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
You are not the guy. You're not capable of being the guy. I had a guy, but now I don't. You are not the guy.
All right, so this is going to be a weekly segment, and that's going to be the sounder for it.
I want to be proven wrong.
Yes.
I want to be. It's not like one of these things where I'm like, I hope he flames out. Like, I really want him. If we can have a lot of success, while he's still getting paid on the cheap, then that's best case scenario.
Right. So that's my kind of. That's the black hole question that I feel like everyone is ignoring, but it's going to have to be answered sooner or later. Is
he a $200 million quarterback?
Yep. Do you feel comfortable giving him the mega contract? Because he's going to be asking for it soon.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to give $200 million to someone who's going to run for 2 touchdowns but only throw for 1?
Yeah,
and not a running back, by the way.
And there is they didn't do anything in that second half.
No,
they fell completely silent in that second half.
And part of the argument might be, well, they were leading, they played more conservatively, and I made this point earlier before the show. The good teams, the really good teams, the Bills, the Chiefs. The Patriots, when they had their dynasty, when they have their foot on an opponent's throat,
squish.
They do not pick it up.
Yeah, squish it.
Because there was a moment at the end of the second half, you know exactly what I'm going to talk about, where they blew a lot of time. They could have gone down for a touchdown, and they didn't. They had a 1:20 left on the clock. Yes, they had to go 95.
3 timeouts, right?
All 3 timeouts. Minute 20.
Yep.
Up to that point, Jalen Hurts literally only missed, I think, 1 or 2 passes. And they come out and they just stand around. And they don't try. And eventually they get a field goal out of the drive. But if they could go, 70 yards to get a field goal, why couldn't they have gone the extra 15?
Yeah, so my critique on that was you got to know when you're starting that drive, you got to know what is the game plan. And I felt like they didn't.
They didn't.
That very first play, they wasted, 30 seconds off the clock?
Literally, like half their time almost.
Yeah, you have to know going into that last drive before halftime, you have to know whether or not are we going to go into the half, are we actually going to try and score, or are we going to see how we deal on the first play and then regroup, because sometimes that happens.
Right.
You see, like, if maybe that first play, if you gain more than 5 yards, okay, maybe we can turn this into a drive or something. But you got to know, those are your 3 options. Which one is it? And it seemed like that when they walked out on the field, they didn't have any idea what was happening. Because they just lollygagged, waste time, and then they tried to put together a drive, and by then it was too late.
It was too late. And that's indicative of what I'm talking about here, in that they let off the gas.
Yep.
And against this team, they can do that. But if they don't score any points there, God forbid the Vikings come out of the half and they score because they got the ball back. All of a sudden,
they were going to.
They were going to.
See, that's another thing, too. Another thing that we got to keep in mind here is if it wasn't for big play Slay, if it wasn't for Darius Slay,
the game is completely different.
There would have been 2 touchdowns on the board.
Yeah.
This game would have looked, 24-21.
Yeah, which is how it felt in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, because they were the Vikings were moving the ball. It's just that towards the red zone, they were committing just egregious mistakes.
As much as Jalen Hurts won us the game, I think equally Darius Slay won us the game. Jalen Hurts won the first half. Darius Slay won the second half.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, if you're right, if Darius Slay, if he pulls a hammy, if he gets tired, if he stubs a toe, he has to come out for a play.
Yeah, that's one of those passes could have been scores.
Yeah,
and we're looking at a much different ball game.
Different game. But speaking of Slay, let's talk about the biggest takeaway. I don't care about Jalen Hurts, whatever. We shut down Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
Not only did we shut him down, we shut him up. Because he was talking about how, he's so much happier to be part of the Vikings, yada, yada, yada. And he was pissed.
Yes. And it was all Darius Slay pretty much. Darius Slay, he had the game of his career so far as an Eagle, because they were able to the one thing that you can do to knock out the Vikings, the Eagles did, and that was cover Justin Jefferson with your star cornerback and only waste one man on him.
Yep.
Because that allowed them to cover all the other weapons. They covered Thielen, they covered Dalvin Cook, and I got to say, I was wrong. I thought with all those weapons, I thought the Vikings would have put up a little bit more of a fight, but they just couldn't. And Kirk Cousins, I thought this was going to be a changed year, but I don't know. Every now and then he falls back into classic Kirk Cousins.
Well, he's 2-10 in prime time. So.
Now he is. Yep.
Yeah. But these Eagles corners, I knew that they were going to be better. But they are playing. I mean, against the Vikings, I think the Vikings are a tougher team than the Lions. So I don't know what happened against the Lions. It was the ground game. But against the Vikings, I mean, they shut down some really talented players.
Yep. There's a lot of weapons on that Vikings
Adam
squad.
Thielen, people forget about him. Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Jalen Reagor.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend.
He did have a good 18-yard run. He did get a chance to stab the Eagles a little bit.
Oh, good for him. He can continue being a fourth-string wide receiver on, a second-rate team. We're going to go to the playoffs. But
I think the Vikings are still in it for the playoffs.
In that division, absolutely.
Yeah, that division's up for the taking with the way the Packers have been going.
But with this new look Eagles defense, we dialed up. I don't remember the exact number, but a couple different cover zero blitzes. I mean, leaving corners on an island with these receivers, especially receivers like Justin Jefferson, they're sending 7-8 guys.
Yeah.
That is ballsy.
Yeah.
And they did that a handful of times.
Yep.
Because they knew that
not like Gannon.
No.
Yeah, that's
Which
usually not his play calling.
I love to see.
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up in an era of Jim Johnson defense.
Yeah.
Send them every single play.
Yeah, keep the pressure up.
Keep the pressure on. That is, and then we got away from that generating pressure with the front four. The front four is old. Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham not getting it done anymore.
Mm.
That's a conversation for another time. But it gives us more flexibility when those corners can go one-on-one, which we haven't had since the Jim Johnson era.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't. I feel like this was not the Eagles at some points. Like, oh my gosh, you're shutting down Justin Jefferson? That's weird. Usually a wide receiver like that burns the Eagles.
How do you like this for a stat? With Darius Slay as the closest defender, Darius Slay had more interceptions than Justin Jefferson had receptions.
Yeah. Yep.
Let that sink in.
I gotta own up to it. That was my one mistake. Other than that, my Fantastic Four picks have been perfect, but the Eagles proved me wrong. They are my first blemish.
That's okay.
On my record.
I picked the Colts.
And I told you.
And I told you.
Yes, you told me, but I told you about.
I told you that you told me.
You gave me crap about the Jaguars last week. And I was like, watch it.
I did.
Watch it. Yep. Jaguars are not the same team, and the Colts are not the same team.
Okay, but the Colts are supposed to be upgraded.
Nope.
They trashed Wentz for the impeccable Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan might be done.
He's done.
He is.
I thought he had something left. He's got like negative
He's apparently
amounts.
Yeah. I mean, he looks lost at times. I mean, I know he's with a new team and he's never been traded before, but you gotta pick up the pace.
Like, there's some fundamentals that you should be able. Like, Tom Brady went to a new team and he won a Super Bowl. I know it's unfair to compare Matt Ryan to Tom Brady, but like.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be one of the best. Remember, everyone was like
blanked.
Yeah, but wait, can we just talk about something? This be a minor, like pissing me off thing.
Should I play it or
no? It's just one quick comment. No, because I'm gonna get angry later.
Okay. Mike has a lot of anger.
A lot of anger I got to work out. Remember when people would call Matt Ryan Matty Ice?
Yeah.
Matty Ice.
Well, yeah.
Get out of here. 20-3.
He is Matty Ice because there's no movement with that offense.
Yeah.
The engine has gone cold.
They're stuck in ice.
Yeah, they're literally putting up no movement on the offensive side of the ball, getting blanked by the Jaguars last week.
Now I'm mad about the Colts.
So that was me, baby. I told you. Jaguars were going to get that one done. So
All right. Let's deflate the ego before we lift off the ground here.
Yeah. And you know what? Hey, so this is why you got to listen to us every week, because we have Fantastic Four picks. Sometimes we agree on the games that we have on the docket. Sometimes we don't. And those were examples. So how about we get to this upcoming week number 3.
Let's do it.
All right. And there we go. The the synthwave music is on. What are the 4 games that we are telling people to keep an eye out for?
So first up, we have an unexpected battle for the NFC North. I didn't think we'd be talking about this team. The Detroit Lions traveling to Minnesota to face off against the team that we just bludgeoned. Who's going to win this one? We didn't think that these teams would be in, at least the Lions wouldn't be in contention for the division, but they're right alongside everyone else there. Do you think that they can get a division win here?
Anything's possible in a division matchup. I forget. I heard something the other day that there's different speeds. You have college football speed, NFL speed, and then there's division game speed. There's something that just upticks a little bit. So you got to leave room for any possibility. But I still think the Vikings have so much talent on the offensive side of the ball. I think this is a good bounce back spot for the Vikings. They're going to be at home. Detroit, while they're better than last year and they command attention, I don't think they're ready to make the jump up into the upper echelon of the NFC North. So I'm ready to go Vikings back on this one. I think Justin Jefferson has a bounce back game. I think they go back to form in this one.
Oh, this is a tough one because I want to say Lions, but this reeks of one of those games where you get embarrassed, you turn around, and you just smack down the next guy. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. Justin Jefferson wasn't just shut down, he was shut up. And that is going to piss him off.
Yeah.
And as much as we fear Justin Jefferson coming into Philly, I think at home with the Lions visiting is going to be where he reclaims that, top 5 wide receiver mantle. And he's just going to tear him a new one.
Yep, I think this is a good bounce back spot for the Vikings and for Justin Jefferson.
Especially against a division opponent, you have to. So I'm going to begrudgingly say Vikings as well. Although, don't sleep on the Lions this season. They can really challenge for a spot in that division.
Yep.
Next up, we have a battle for the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills are traveling to Miami. Again, another team we didn't think we'd be talking about that much, but Miami shocking people around the league. Could this be Buffalo's first real test here?
Yes, this is going to be a huge test. Not only are they division rivals, but, these are 2 explosive offenses. Tua had 6 touchdowns last week in a comeback win.
Wild.
This is, again, another team not to sleep on. They could provide a formidable challenge. But you know what? I still have faith in the Bills. Josh Allen he looks like a cheat code when he's playing football sometimes. Other than a couple of passes in the Rams game, he has been perfect so far in the first 2 weeks of this season. It's just, I think just from top to bottom, it's a more complete team. There's more talent on the defensive side of the ball on the Bills than on the Dolphins. I think the Bills still pull this one out, but that one should be a fantastic game to watch.
Yeah, I think that there's one big differentiating factor between these 2 teams because on offense, they're very similar in the passing game. But where they differ is in the ground game and in defense. You could not have 2 complete polar opposites in terms of defense. You have the Bills, one of the best. They can win games with their defense. The Dolphins, I know it's 2 games in, but 28th in the league in defense. That's not looking very good so far. And the Bills, especially with how they operate on offense, going up against a weaker defensive opponent, you have to think that the Bills are going to take this one. Not easily, but they'll be able to take the Dolphins in this one. I think they're the most complete team.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just on paper, on the field, watching them, it like you put it perfectly. It looks like a cheat code.
Yeah.
They just do whatever they want to.
Yeah. Right now, it's their division to lose, but at the same time, I wouldn't expect the Dolphins to not pull out a fight, especially at home.
Oh, yeah. They're not going to take it down. They're not going to take it lying down. I think they're going to go 1-2 in that division.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Next up, we have a wide open NFC West. Every team is 1-1. It's the LA Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. Rich, you said that you had a little bit of betting advice for people on this one.
I'm hammering the Rams. I looked at this spread, and I don't buy the Cardinals. I don't at all. The Cardinals, truly got lucky coming back against the Raiders last week, because literally Kyler Murray has been running for his life in the first 2 games of this season. He has not looked like a confident quarterback, other than the miraculous fourth quarter that he had against the Raiders to come back, force overtime, and then in overtime anything can happen, and the Cardinals were able to pull out the win there. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the Cardinals should be 0-2.
On the flip side, the Rams had the misfortune of facing the Bills.
Yes.
So they could be 2-0 right now.
Right, yeah. I was just about to go there. The Rams, on the other side, have had had a very tough opponent week 1. And then last week, they got off to a big lead against the Falcons, but they had a little bit of a letdown, but they stopped the skid when it was called upon, and I'm sure their head coach, Sean McVay, was like, hey, wake the F up, we're not losing this game to the Falcons. So I think the Rams, first off, are the truly better team. Number 2, division game, they're kind of looking a little iffy after those first 2 games of the season. Sean McVay is going to demand that they trounce this game. They have to go in and they have to shut down the Cardinals, just like Monday Night Football, 24/7 kind of game. They got to go after the throat and take them out. And also, the third thing, the Cardinals are apparently atrocious at home. They have lost their last 6 regular season games at home. They have no home field advantage. I've never seen anything like that before.
Not good.
So, you know what? Rams all the way. If it's a reasonable point spread, take it. I am hammering the Rams in this one.
Yeah, so in games like this, you got to go with experience, and you got to go with the team that's been there and done that, and that's the LA Rams. Neither of these teams are the same team they were last year. I think they're both missing a step. But in situations like this, where they're equally matched on paper and in personnel and stats, and they're both missing a step, you got to go with the team that just has more experience and more comfort being in those tough situations, and that's the Rams in this case. So I'm going with the Rams as well.
Yep.
And finally, we have our very own hometown Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Washington to face off against Carson Wentz and the Washington Commanders. Rich, is this one of those games that kind of sneaks up and disappoints everyone?
Oh.
We're flying high. Jalen Hurts, MVP, Super Bowl bound. Is Carson Wentz going to come in and put a stop to the hype train?
It could. I would not be surprised if coming off of
He's playing real well.
This is also a short week. The Eagles had Monday. They had to play Monday night, so the Eagles are on a little bit of a short week. It wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles lay a dud here and they do give up a division game, right here. But I think the way that the momentum is going right now, I think the Eagles do hold on. Washington also has suffered a couple of injuries. Their defensive line has taken a couple hits, which I think is advantageous for the Eagles in this first matchup. I think the Eagles still do get it done at the end of the day. Also, I would say I think the point spread for this is 7.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would do the point spread on this one, but in terms of straight up, I think the Eagles are able to pull out a win here and go to 3-0.
So far, I've been picking the Eagles this season, and it hasn't let me down. I am actually I'm more concerned for this game than I was against the Vikings.
It does seem like a letdown spot.
Because division rival, you got Carson Wentz looking to prove something. He's playing really well. Really well right now. And you have just all the hype around the Eagles, and whenever, you know this after watching the Eagles for like 20 plus years, whenever there's a lot of hype, the Eagles are like, how can we let down the largest number of people in one fell swoop?
Yeah.
And that would be losing to the Washington Commanders. I don't think it's going to happen. We have a better ground game. We have I think a more talented defense. But it definitely has upset potential here.
Yeah.
So just brace yourselves. It's good. Like you said about the point spread, I don't think it's going to be a commanding
Don't take
victory.
the point spread.
It's not going to be a commanding victory like against the Vikings.
Lay off the side. That's not a good bet.
I very cautiously pick the Eagles.
Yeah.
Do not be surprised if they lose, though.
Yeah, I agree as well. So there you go. Our picks for week 3. We're going Vikings Bills, Rams, Eagles, and we're all in agreement on those. So this is one we are in agreement. We go back and forth. Sometimes there are weeks we completely agree on, and there's other weeks we have.
Sometimes I pick different just to be different.
Yeah, and there's other weeks that Mike looks at me and goes, "What the hell stat crawled up your ass?" And you can't get rid of.
Sometimes you find some weird, obscure stat. You're like, this defensive tackle is really good when the moon is in a waxing phase. I'm like, okay, what is this, baseball?
Hey,
they don't care about that stuff in football.
Yeah, it's the baseball side of me coming out. Yeah, never know. Sometimes those stats matter.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. That's our Fantastic Four picks for week number 3. Use those pieces of advice if you can, and whether or not it's trying to make you sound good with your friends or you're trying to win some money on the sports books. Good luck. All right, now we're gonna do one last thing before we wrap up our football segment, and that is to do our unique segment where we don't have a 2 or 4 minute drill. Instead, we have a 3-minute drill to hit a topic in 3 minutes or less. What topic do we need to do in 3 minutes or less, Mike?
We got to talk about San Fran. They're going to have a big decision to make at quarterback this offseason, as quarterback Trey Lance went down with a season-ending injury and surgery. So that means, once again, Jimmy G has to step in at quarterback.
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G is back. They can't get rid of Garoppolo.
Good thing they didn't.
Right. Exactly.
What pop quiz, hot shot? Who would have started for this if Jimmy Garoppolo had been traded?
I don't know, some guy off the street.
No.
Who?
Nate Sudfeld. He's
Nate
the
Sudfeld.
third stringer.
Oh, wow.
How do you like that?
Nate would have taken him all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. You know what? They should have traded Jimmy G.
They should have.
Yeah, Nate Sudfeld is the third string quarterback.
Nate Sudfeld. There's the name.
Well, now he's the second string quarterback because Trey Lance is out for the season. Broken ankle. Ugh.
Yeah, done. But they're going to have a big decision to make. Everybody thought it was weird they didn't trade Jimmy G, and now they're looking like geniuses.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yeah, we planned it all along. No, you didn't. You just couldn't find a trade partner.
Yeah, but it benefited them.
But now, what do they do?
Well,
Because Jimmy G is set up for success. I mean, he took them deep, what was it, just last year? They were, or the year, what year?
Yeah, they were in the
last
NFC
year.
Championship game. Yeah.
Time moves weird for me.
Very good, Mike.
So what happens then?
It's going to depend on how far Jimmy Garoppolo gets them. I mean, if he gets them back to to a Super Bowl, it's going to be tough reasoning to say goodbye to him.
I mean, even if he gets them close, another NFC Championship game, even if they just make it to the playoffs and win a game, how do you justify trading or releasing a quarterback?
That's the issue. The front office still believes Trey Lance is the future. They still want him to be the franchise quarterback. So, I think assuming Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't get them back to like the NFC Championship game or something, I think they're going to be safe with still going with Trey Lance. But if Jimmy Garoppolo takes the 49ers to the NFC Championship game or to the Super Bowl, oh my gosh, we might have a situation like Nick Foles and Carson Wentz.
Could be a quarterback controversy in San Fran.
An epic controversy. I don't know what you would do.
You gotta
go. How can you turn your back on the guy who gets you that far twice in back-to-back seasons?
What you do is you sit Trey Lance, like you do Jordan Love in Green Bay, like you did Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. You sit him and you go with the hot hand until the hand's not hot.
I don't know. That's a rough situation to ask for a top 10 rookie.
Yeah.
Oh,
it is.
I don't know.
But what are you going to do?
Yeah, we're going to find out how the 49ers handle that as we end.
You had a playoff caliber quarterback. They drafted a quarterback anyway. Now it's coming back to bite them.
There you go.
Bite them in the butt.
And that is our unique segment, the 3-minute drill. That's what we use to hit a topic in 3 minutes or less. That's one of our newest segments here on the Crispy Noodle podcast. But all right. Whew. With that, I think we need to start wrapping up the sports sampler. That was a lot of football news. But, hey, good news for the Eagles. I mean, look, if I had to be wrong, I'm glad I was wrong about this subject on the Eagles pick last week.
Yeah.
And that the Eagles are right now flying high right now. But, we'll see as they go into week number 3 of the NFL season, as well as the other teams as well. But For right now, that'll be the end of Sports Sampler, but don't go anywhere. We still got 2 segments left, the entertainment entree and then the non-fortune cookie odd news coming your way after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Ready for the weekend? Happy Friday. Hi, my name's Marie, and I'm an artist who's been making Happy Friday doodles every week for over 7 years. And now you can own my art collection in this Volume 1 and Volume 2 art series. These doodles span across multiple themes, yearly festivities, various countries, languages, and more. Both coffee table books have something for everyone and are the perfect conversation starter or gift for a friend. Really, anyone who enjoys a good weekend. Available on Amazon, Ingram, BookBaby, Barnes & Noble, and more. Visit happyfridaydoodles.com/books and get your copies today. Let's celebrate the best day of the week. Happy Friday.
We're going to talk about 22-year-old Matthew Kyle Letham, and he decided to call police at 4:45 in the morning because he couldn't find a ride home after the bar at 4:45 in the morning. But that is not the actual oddity of this story. Police encountered Matthew Letham on the scene, and that's when they noted that this dude actually has a tattoo of the state of Florida in between his 2 eyebrows.
Oh my God.
Yes, and I have his mugshot. So here we go.
He's literally Florida Man.
Yes.
He's like a superhero Florida Man, and that is like his logo.
He is Mr. Florida Man. So
I mean, it's the most harmless Florida story we've ever had.
Yeah, except for the fact that dude has a tattoo
stupid
that will last the rest of his life that he cannot hide.
You cannot undo that. Every job interview he goes to, the very first thing they're going to see and question is the Florida tattoo. Yeah.
It's literally like, can I touch it? Like, it's right there.
You know the scene in Austin Powers Goldmember? The guy who has the mole?
Yeah.
Moly, 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 moly. Yeah. It is that, except with Florida on his forehead. Is anybody more proud of their home state than that guy? Nope.
Can't say it. I can't say it.
Nope.
I can't think of anybody else.
Nope.
So,
I love Pennsylvania, but not that much.
No, I do not want. Pennsylvania is a big state too. I do not want that on my forehead.
It's very square or rectangular. What's the weirdest state to get tattooed to a forehead? I think. What do you think would be the weirdest one? I mean, I think Florida, because the way it's shaped.
Florida's pretty weird. California,
Michigan
would be weird because it's
very long,
and then it juts out.
No, Michigan.
Ooh, yeah. Because they got
Michigan.
all those like Great Lakes and stuff.
Yeah, and it's split in half.
Ugh, yeah, that would not be good.
That'd be a weird one.
Yeah.
Alaska. Oh, Oklahoma. I was going to say Alaska.
Oklahoma, you have to get the box, and then you have to get that little dinky panhandle that goes the other half of your head.
You're literally making yourself a unibrow, and then like it has like a little hat on it.
Yeah. Ew.
What about Alaska? You have that whole chain of islands coming off the side. It's going to like go around the side of your head almost.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest conversation we've ever had. In 8 years of podcast, I think it's safe to say that talking about the weirdest state to tattoo to your forehead, probably the dumbest thing we've ever talked about.
It's 2021, man.
And we were like actually analyzing. You're like, oh yeah, and the islands, and we're like, yeah, that makes sense. There's something fundamentally broken with us, Rich, in 2021.
It's 2021.
Nothing makes sense anymore. It's
The
that
pandemic-
simple.
The pandemic's gone on too long, Rich. We've hit a breaking point.
Yeah. All right.
Next week we're both going to show up with states tattooed to our foreheads.
Dear God.
Oh, yeah, we're back here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast. All right, so we had to take a little bit of time to recover from all the craziness from NFL Week 2 and the Eagles game, but now we're moving right along. We're going from the sports realm, and we are going to the world of movies, TV, video games with the entertainment entree.
And now, the latest in movies.
The Simpson guy writes to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when that guy was on the roof.
Music.
I know what that is. That's music.
Video games.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Celebrities.
You really know Warren Beatty? Yes, I do. I took a leak next to him once at the Golden Globes.
And more.
You're the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
This is the entertainment entree.
All right. So with that, we're officially in entertainment entree mode, and we're going to kick it off with the segment where Mike is going to let you know what you should keep an eye out for this upcoming weekend with movies, TV, and video games with Mike's This Week in Entertainment. All right, Mikey, what should the good people be aware of?
This week, first up, on YouTube, specifically YouTube, we got to give a shout out to two of our favorite creators on YouTube.
Oh, that's right. I just realized that. We got to do we got to do the official sound effect because we're going to talk about the newest show.
Demon? Stop calling it that. Demon.
Stop it. Stop talking to it.
No, I just want to talk to the demons. Plunge us into darkness, demons! Demons!
Oh my God.
Demons, you cowards!
Yep, if you're in the fall spooky mood, this is the perfect series that you should keep an eye out for.
I am so excited that Ryan and Shane from BuzzFeed Unsolved are coming back, not on BuzzFeed this time, they're on their own YouTube channel, Watcher, with Ghost Files.
Hey there, demons. It's me, your boy.
Yes.
It's me, your boy. That's right. The Ghoul, what are they? The
Ghoul Boys. That's what they call themselves.
They're back, better than ever. I believe the first episodes
Friday
drop on Friday. Yeah. So really, really exciting stuff there. Go check that out to kick off into the spooky season because it's right around the corner. So
I mean, it's appropriate timing. The seasons are changing. This is like the last kind of hot week,
right? And it's going to get chilly. It's going to get spooky. Yeah. So
yeah, this is it.
Check out Ghost Files on the Watcher YouTube
I'm so
channel.
Excited. I am legitimately thrilled. I've never been. I really don't think I've been excited for a YouTube
show,
TV show like this since like Chad Vader. That might be the closest equivalent.
Chad Vader.
Yeah, I love Chad Vader.
We are old.
Yes, we are. We are internet veterans.
We were watching YouTube when it when it first came out.
Yeah, yes, we were
in the library in high school.
Yeah, in high school. Yeah, it was a little square that played.
Yep.
On the screen. Yep.
We had to go to the library to use computers. We didn't have.
Yeah, we didn't
computers.
have a laptop.
We didn't have laptops. Nothing. We're old.
If you had a laptop, you were very rich.
You were fancy.
Yeah, you were very wealthy. Anyway,
for us common folk, you can watch Ghost Files.
I am very excited for Ghost Files. I will be right there waiting to. And apparently, by the way, the episodes are supposed to be super long. It's supposed to be like an hour long episodes.
Really?
According to Ryan, he said that in an interview. Yeah.
Now I'm even more excited.
So this is going to be some heavy stuff.
Nice.
So I'm very excited.
Yeah.
If you love spooky stuff, ghost stuff, this is right up your alley. Check this one out.
Absolutely. If you're not checking out Ghost Files on video games, Xbox fans have a real treat this week With the release of Deathloop for the first time on Xbox consoles, this was originally a PlayStation Time exclusive. First-person shooter that uses a time-looping mechanic. You have to solve puzzles and find information that will make your future runs more efficient as you try to kill 8 targets in one run-through. So it did pretty well. Critically, I played it. I wasn't blown away by it, but the gameplay was very smooth, very interesting. So go check that out. That's Deathloop on Xbox consoles. Xbox gamers also get Slime Rancher 2, which is the sequel to one of my favorite quote-unquote cozy games where you farm slimes. And that's basically, you make a little farm and your main resource are just slimes that you find out in the wild. You got to feed them, you got to house them. It's adorable, it's cute, it's fun. It's a good time.
That sounds like a Mike Costanzo game.
Absolutely. I like the weird stuff, okay?
Yes.
In TV, though, it's a really big week for TV. Lots of fall shows are coming back. So, of course, you have all of the animated comedies, Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, and, of course, The Simpsons coming back. But the best comedy, I think, on television right now is coming back Wednesdays on ABC. This is Abbott Elementary, the local Emmy Award-winning comedy coming back for its second season. I've been talking about this since it first came out, and I'm telling you guys, it's really, really good. It won Emmys for Best Supporting Actress and Best Writing. The first season had 8.3 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes, and it just is so funny. The references to the area are fantastic because the creator and writer and main star of the show is from this area. She went to the Philadelphia area schools, came up through the Philadelphia school system. So it is, locally grown stuff. Go check it out. That's Abbott Elementary on Wednesday on ABC.
Got to support the hometown.
You got to. But finally, not just supporting the hometown, but also a galaxy far, far away on Disney Plus, Andor makes its highly anticipated debut finally after being delayed a month. This gritty spy thriller follows Cassian Andor years before the events of Rogue One as he grows into a resistance fighter and rebel leader that we see later in the film. Disney has high hopes for the show. They're already shooting season 2. They're going to be shooting
right off the bat.
This fall, right off the bat. So they have very, very high hopes. And that's what we're looking forward to this week in entertainment.
All right, but we are not done the Andor talk because the creator of the show, Tony Gilroy, had some interesting comments, and I know Mike is very interested to talk about them.
Yeah, so he recently Tony Gilroy, the creator of the show, recently had an interview with Rolling Stone, and he is, just wondering about why some recent Star Wars projects have not done as well. And he suggests maybe the creators have too much reverence for the franchise. Maybe they're too big of fans. So he says in the interview, quote, "It's really easy with Star Wars for really smart people to lose their way. And strangely, it seems they care too much. Some form of altitude sickness or vertigo happens, and they lose some natural abilities or perceptions in some way. And it was helpful, at least on Rogue, to be super clinical and say, hey, why are we choosing to die? You really have to care about the people that are going to sacrifice themselves if that's the raw material, the engine of the story," end quote. So, referencing Rogue One there, famously, he went into Rogue One openly saying that he didn't really love the franchise.
Yeah, interesting statement before you make a hugely monumental movie about the franchise.
He's like, yeah, I don't know it and I don't like it, kind of. And he's like, I'm going to be the director or not, or whatever he did. I don't remember. I think he was
writer.
Yeah, now I'm not remembering what he actually did on the film. But the point here is
lead writer.
Thank you. But he didn't like it. He didn't know it. They said, write this story. And he ended up writing one of the best Disney Star Wars stories so far. So is there some validity to what he's saying here? Do the creators of the sequel trilogy and the Disney Star Wars films, are they too big of fans? Because you have to remember, the people creating these movies were the people who watched the originals.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things. Are they too close to it? Because Well, let me get your impression. Do you think that might be part of the problem?
It could be, and I imagine to some degree that could be a fault.
If you love something so much, here's the problem: are you going to take the necessary risks?
Yeah, and I think that might be why, you know, my biggest criticism on Force Awakens is that it really is just a carbon copy of A New Hope, and I don't know, when people come out and they say that The Force Awakens is their favorite Star Wars movie, I'm just like, have you heard of a movie called A New Hope? Have you heard of the original Star Wars movie? Like, I don't understand why you would rank that as one of your top movies when you have A New Hope sitting at home. But
we have Star Wars at home.
Yeah. So I think to a degree there is some validity to that sentiment that if you love a franchise property so much, and then you're trying to make the next entry into that franchise, you do run the risk of being too similar and too safe with what you're trying to do. So I can definitely understand that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You saw it. You pointed out Force Awakens. That was one of the big criticisms, is it was too safe.
Yeah.
Because, maybe Abrams was just so smitten with Star Wars. He's like, why stray from the formula? It's safer. It's more convenient. You want to honor what came before it. And being a fan, you just recreate it with your own, lens over it.
Yeah.
Then you have the opposite as well. You have something like The Last Jedi, which was, challenged, the formula, and people criticized that as well, because then it was too different. So you have both ends of the spectrum. You have one fan who is staying too close to the formula, one fan who's like, oh no, I'm such a big fan, I can change the formula and get away with it, and then they get criticized as well. I think you really do need someone who's unbiased.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't like it, because then they're going to make decisions based on what's best for the story. They're not trying to stick to the formula, and they're not trying to change the formula, reinvent it, because it's already there.
Yeah.
And so you get a movie like Rogue One.
Right. And in a way, he's right. The proof is in the pudding. He hit a home run with Rogue One. I mean, that definitely, I feel like that is one of just the best Star Wars movies. And like, it's
like,
funny.
Period for you. Like, you rank it up there.
It's pretty good. And what's funny is, when you think about that movie, it almost in some aspects doesn't seem like a Star Wars movie. Like the first half of that movie is built trying to introduce the characters that are going to be needed for their assault to get the plans for the Death Star in the first place. So the first half of the movie actually kind of seems like what they would have done for like the TV show, like for Mandalorian.
Right.
But Mandalorian hadn't come out yet. So it was like Mandalorian before Mandalorian came out. And I think having that kind of between the way that was shot, the way the ending was, the way that it all kind of flew into A New Hope, the beginning of A New Hope. I mean, it's just so memorable. And I think there might be some validity to his statement that I don't know if you had a major uber Star Wars fan directing Rogue One, I definitely think some things would be different. Or you know what? You would have had more established characters make appearances.
There would have been way more focus on Vader, probably.
Yeah, or I don't know, maybe like another character coming out of the woodwork, and this is like the beginning of their entry into the rebellion.
Right.
I don't know, like Mon Mothma or something,
right.
or
but like and
like
and here's the fault with that, is that you don't need that.
No, and
like you don't have to be tethered to.
It worked better that they were all original characters.
Right.
Between Jyn Erso and obviously the main character for Andor as well. I mean, it worked better. I think it worked better that they were original characters and weren't tied to the main saga.
Right. Because you kind of see, now you mentioned The Mandalorian, one of the criticisms I saw mentioned in an article about this topic is one of the criticisms for The Mandalorian is that it kind of I disagree, but it kind of shrinks the universe because it's so tied to existing characters and existing elements like that. I think people say it shrinks the universe. I disagree. Maybe I just wasn't aware of those parts of the universe, but it feels like it's broadening in my perspective. But I can see where that criticism is coming from, that the more you're tied to the existing characters, the existing stories, the more you feel kind of closed in.
Yeah.
Like you have to hit certain beats, you have to do certain things. And so far, the best properties are the ones that deviate the most. So that's also why I'm really excited for Andor, because you watch the trailer, it's like a completely different property.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting.
Right.
But here's the flip side to that. Does quote unquote not loving the franchise and telling a completely different story, does that also run the risk of inherently missing some of that kind of intangible Star Wars magic? Because some of the criticism, I know my brother in particular, he's like, Rogue One is not a Star Wars movie. He's like, there's no Star Wars in it. It's like it's just Vader at the end.
There's Vader. There's the Death Star. There's the one character that uses the Force.
But that's his main argument, is that it's so little. It's
I don't know if it's little in that movie. I mean, you have Princess Leia in it too.
Okay, all right. But I mean, compared to
now I would say
Solo
just felt like
Solo was a space heist.
Yeah, Solo is just a generic space heist, and then they slapped Star Wars branding on it.
So
had no.
So you think the inverse is true, or what? So do you understand that the question that I'm getting at is like, is there the potential for straying too much? Like with Andor.
You can. Oh yeah, you absolutely can. It's a balancing act. You got to be kind of in the middle. You got to be able to respect what came before you, but still propose something fresh and something new to contribute. The best thing I can think of for this would be Cobra Kai. I'm going back to Cobra Kai because I feel like the creators on Cobra Kai, even though they were diehard fans of Karate Kid, and that probably is the inverse of this argument, but they did it right. That like they had to throw in some new elements, but they still respected the original 3 movies of the Karate Kid lore. And I don't know, to me, just that storyline of Cobra Kai is how you successfully bring back and reboot a franchise. Well, that is my diamond to shoot for, in my opinion.
I mean, you kind of make a good point. They obviously are very tethered to the past because they brought back literally everyone, but they also introduced so many new characters as well. And they deepened the characters that were only in, like, I mean, Johnny Lawrence, like they're going to make an entire series out of like the bad guy from the first movie. Like, like one of the bad guys.
Try this Chosen in the second movie. He has a whole season arc in season 5.
That was a little weird, but
I mean, I still think that's admirable, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe, God, I don't, we were joking the other night about how karate creates every problem, solves every problem. And here you go. Again, the problem with Star Wars can be solved with karate some reason.
It can. I think the creators of Cobra Kai know exactly what they're doing with that franchise, and they've hit a home run, I think, every season.
I don't know how a Star Wars conversation turned to Cobra Kai, but
it's not really. If you've listened to me, if you've listened to me on the podcast, it's not really that ridiculous. Because, oh God, I really wished in some ways Star Wars the sequel trilogy was more like Cobra Kai.
Follow the Grey Jedi path.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Cobra Kai did the Grey Jedi thing better than Star Wars did, and I'm very disappointed in that.
So
with the sequel trilogy.
The lesson is that you need non-fans.
Sometimes you need a balance.
You need a balance.
I would say you probably want to start off with somebody that knows the franchise and respects the franchise, but then as like a producer or a consultant or something like that could be like your external eyes. Like, okay, maybe we need to, have a fresh set of eyes on this.
Yeah.
So that's what I would go with.
Don't be too close to it. You got to be able, as they say in creative writing, you have to kill your children.
Yeah. There are moments, that
You
has
have
to
to kill
happen.
your children.
That is right. Speaking of killing children, no, that's not what happens in this next topic.
No, not really.
No, but there is some anger here that has been purported here by one Michael Costanzo, and he needs to get it off his chest before we get into the odd news. So I've been waiting to press this button the whole time. So here we go. It's time for What's Pissing Us Off.
It's element left and element right. Come on, let me get your right step right. Get off stage, goddamn goof, you know. Piss me off, and jerk. Get on my nerves.
All right, Mikey, he told me he had to get something off of his chest. So what is pissing Michael Costanzo off?
The internet.
Of course.
Specifically, obnoxious people on the internet recently. So it all started when Rings of Power was announced and then it was released. People were so upset that in the Lord of the Rings universe, there were black elves and dwarves. And they're like, well, that doesn't happen in Tolkien's universe. How do you know? Firstly, and they review bombed the Rings of Power. There was a whole kerfuffle. They had to change the weighting of reviews to combat it because Rings of Power had something stupid like 25,000, total reviews, where other fantasy shows like The Witcher and Game of Thrones only had like a couple thousand. So clearly people are review bombing it for a specific reason. And this is not anything new in the sci-fi and fantasy world. But then it continued after Disney revealed their live-action Little Mermaid trailer, and everyone was up in arms because Ariel is now played by Halle Bailey, a black woman. And people, again, got upset. They're like, well, mermaids, the source material. Ariel isn't black. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you guys, it is a fictional character in a fictional story where it's a mermaid, it's a mythical creature who lives under the sea and talks to fish. Like, it doesn't matter. Disney can make Ariel whatever they want her to be. It's absurd.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All right, so I think that's what we say to everybody out there who contributed to this madness.
Yeah, it's so stupid because the arguments that they're using don't make any sense whatsoever. They're like, oh, they're quote-unquote erasing culture. They're deviating from the source material. Disney... deviating from the source material? Do you know what these fairy tales are like? Have you ever looked up what actually happens in Sleeping Beauty?
Yeah.
If they followed the source material, that'd be an NC-17 movie, friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How about we deviate from the original source material on that side of the frontier?
Oh my God, people would be losing their minds. Also, everyone's like, oh, they're erasing culture. I know Walt Disney was accused of being a Nazi, but he's not knocking on doors and demanding your copies of The Little Mermaid so he can go burn them. Like, you will still have...
Yes, he does. He's going to return them to the Disney
He's
vault.
going to return them to the Disney vault. Like, you will still have the old Little Mermaid. Like, you're not... It's not,
Nope. It all goes back into the racist vault.
Mickey's going to come to the door. He's like, give me your give me your VHS copy of The Little Mermaid. We're erasing it from history. What?
I don't think you heard me. Give me all.
Give me all
the copies that you have.
They're going back in the vault.
Only I have access to the vault.
That's right. He has all the keys. So it's just
all my
ridiculous.
Racist keys.
All my racist keys. He has the keys to the racist kingdom.
Yeah.
That's where these people are living because I just don't understand. I just don't understand. This is something that's a personal pet peeve of mine when it comes to arts and entertainment. When people say they can't relate to a character because of race or gender, you're kind of missing, like, the whole part of human nature and human condition that is, like, universal. You know what I mean? You're missing the universality of like the human condition that drives good stories. Like everyone's experienced loss and anger and happiness and like these basic human emotions, and you can't relate to a character. Like you're playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yep.
Are you having any trouble playing as a female protagonist?
No, I'm having quite a good time.
Like if you can't connect to a character because of that, you're kind of missing the point of the story, I would think.
Yeah.
So, and that's just always bugged me. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. Again, I don't know how you can be losing culture when the creation of the character is fictional and the universe is fictional.
Right. Everything
about it's
fictional. About mermaids.
Yeah, a fictional creature.
It's not like a real person. And mermaid culture is not a real culture, believe it or not, Rich.
Oh, I think some people at home would beg to differ.
Oh my God, just this absolute just stupidity of these dunces online. Like, I can't even deal with these people right now. So I just had to get that off my chest. It's just absolutely frustrating. They're like, erasing culture. What, mermaid culture?
Yeah.
What
boy.
culture? Oh, the original fairy tale? Oh, you mean like the other ones where like Sleeping Beauty? I'm not even going to get into it because the show would get pulled.
Yeah, just look it up.
Just look it up. Like the source material, culture. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
So I was pissed off.
That's perfectly fine, and I agree with you heartily. But if
there's something else that's pissing us off.
If there's any a part of our show where we might be losing culture, it might be this part of the show upcoming next, and that is, of course, the non-fortune cookie odd news.
We've been talking about cool and its ramifications and how it applies to the hip scene, but maybe you could give us some examples now of the opposite of cool, uncool. Just exactly what is uncool?
My nipples look like milk duds.
Holy shnikes.
It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
It's not of this world. I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence we're facing.
How you doing? Me? I'm doing great.
Manda bastards. I don't make this stuff up.
I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts. That'll be $4, baby. You want fries with that?
I seen the celery dance across the baseball fields.
You had me at Meat Tornado.
No, go past this. Past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Okay. What does that mean?
And now it's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
So sit back, get everything you need to get from the kitchen. Be sure and empty the bladders. Go to the bathroom because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Woo! Odd news.
That's right, everyone. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news. Here in this segment, Rich researches the news, he reads the news, and I react to the news. He finds a weird and wacky story and keeps it hidden from me, which ensures that all of my reactions are my genuine gut reactions to hearing the story for the very first time. I don't know what's about to happen. You guys don't know what's about to happen. And even Rich doesn't know what's about to happen because these stories always take us down wacky and wild paths. And I'm ready to get started. Where are we heading to, and why is it always Florida?
Well, you know what, this story, for this first one, I'm going to do...
Oh, first one? We have multiple?
I think we can fit... I don't know. We'll have to see about the timing because we're running a little bit late. So,
okay.
This first one, we might go fast on it, so let's see. This one is going to take place in Missouri, actually.
Okay.
And this is just one of those dumb crimes. The sentence is the whole story. But, I just can't believe, he thought he was going to get away with this. But a man in Missouri decided to live stream himself saying that he was going to commit crimes, create bombs, and threaten people while dressed up as the Joker online. Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, one of those taking the movie
a little too seriously.
There, yeah.
Sometimes you can see yourself too much in a character.
Yeah, that gets a little weird. Please don't do that.
Yikes. So this guy literally thinks he's the Joker.
He thought he could just have some fun with this character. 51-year-old Jeremy Gardner.
51?
Yeah, he's 51 years old.
That's cringy.
Yeah. He had to plead guilty to making a terrorist threat. He told police that this was never going to happen in real life, but he thought that it would, quote, be fun to play the character.
What?
Yep. And there we go. We have him being arrested.
God.
Yeah. There he is. His mugshot with the Joker makeup and stuff.
Oh my God. He literally, I mean, he looks like the Joker.
He did a good job with the makeup.
Yeah. That's cringy.
Yeah.
For a 51-year-old to like envision themselves as the Joker, that's weird.
Yeah. You know, you look, you can, you know, do your cosplay and everything like that, but you shouldn't live stream yourself and pointing out, you know, specific incidents that like, oh, I'm going to bomb this place or something.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. That is what they said, a terroristic threat.
Yeah. That's not good. He said to police that, quote, I was just being the Joker character. I thought everyone would know it was a joke. I had no intentions of following through with the threat. But are you ready for the kicker?
Sure.
It turned out that while they did a background search on him, that he was actually a previous felon and was wanted for robbing a credit union back in the 1980s. So
he's literally the Joker.
So he's going to have an old crime being brought up that he's going to have to deal with because of all this mess.
Whoops.
Yeah, good job, buddy.
Maybe don't threaten to bomb places on a live stream.
Yeah. Look, I know the Joker character is cool, but maybe you should leave it to the professionals.
Yeah.
Let them actually professionally act like the Joker so you don't get arrested.
Right.
And they don't have your previous record of robbing a credit union back up.
What a whack job.
Yeah. So there you go.
I just think it's super cringy that somebody who's in their 50s is like trying to pretend to be a villain from a comic book.
Yeah.
And then make threats about bombing places. Like,
yep.
He's like some like edgelord.
Yeah.
You know, he's like that's just, I feel like that's something that like a late teen, early 20s person would do. You know?
Yeah, it's also very, it is very cringy for a 51-year-old.
It's very cringy for a 51-year-old to do that.
Yeah. All right, so I just wanted to get that out of the way because I couldn't believe that guy thought like he was gonna be fine with it, but whatever.
Yeah. When in the world has saying that you're gonna bomb something ever gone well for anyone ever?
Yeah, that's not how this works.
Like ever.
Yeah. All right, but with that out of the way, now I can get to the full-blown Florida odd news story this week.
Right.
Now, who is this guy in Florida?
It's Florida, and they're crazy.
And for the full story here, make a note. We need to make a note that this that this needs to go to our good friend Steph.
Okay.
Because this has her name written all over it. This is happening in Tampa Bay. A user with the name @TitanicFan97.
Oh my God.
Has decided to make it his new life quest that he is going to collect as many copies of the VHS tape of Titanic as humanly possible. He's going to collect all these VHSs.
This is the 2-tape set?
Yes. This is double the storage he's going to need. This is very, very tough here.
This cannot be made good. It's shameful. It's a shameful, shameful day.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, this is our good friend Steph, probably.
She's living in, this is her second life in Florida, in Tampa Bay.
Oh my gosh. So this individual wants to collect all the VHSs. Like VHSs are really inconvenient because they're huge.
Yes,
like when you compare them to DVDs, like they just take up so much space. And Titanic was a 2 VHS box set.
Yes.
Because it's stupidly long to tell a story about a boat sinking.
I mean, there are some more things that happened.
No, it hit a piece of ice. It hit an ice cube, and it sank because they built it dumb.
Look, you also forgot that
naked painting.
Kate Winslet had some naughty fun.
Okay, so Kate Winslet got naked. It hit an ice cube, and they all died. Or rather,
solid movie,
masterpiece.
Masterpiece. That's a masterpiece.
Chef's kiss.
Yes. Naked Kate Winslet. Perfect.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a good scene. It's a good scene.
Very good. Yes, yes, yes.
When you're a young lad and that comes on screen, you're like, whoa.
Something just came over me, and I took my clothes off.
Yes.
That's what happens
That's
when you watch
filmmaking.
Titanic. Yeah.
That's filmmaking right there.
It's beauty.
Anyway.
And that's why this person is collecting the VHS tapes.
Yes. In case the internet ever goes down.
He needs to have
We
every
need to
copy
have
of it.
Every copy of Kate Winslet's boobs on
you
physical media.
You can wear out the tape, so you need a backup tape.
Yeah.
Just rewinding and playing and
Thousands
rewinding.
of backup tapes.
Thousands, just in case.
I need thousands of them. Okay, so he might, I guess he might be a little shameful in this because he is not admitting his real name. He's only going by @TitanicFan97.
Boo. Coward.
Wow. Okay.
Well, look, it's so if he were doing something like the last idiot,
Plunge us into darkness, demons! Demons!
Oh my God.
Demons, you cowards!
you cowards.
You cowards.
But like if he was doing something untoward like the last guy, I understand trying to hide your identity, but you're just trying to collect VHSs of Titanic. Just why are you embarrassed? Because you know it's stupid. You know it's shameful.
All right. Well, well, all right. Well,
He's a shameful coward.
This cannot be made good. It's shameful. It's a shameful, shameful day.
So he has 50,000 followers that are following his quest, mostly on TikTok.
Okay.
He wants to build the, quote, world's largest collection of Titanic on VHS.
Sure. Why not?
How
many copies does he have?
As of right now, he has told Axios News that he is at 500 copies.
So that's 1,000.
So that's 1,000 tapes.
Where are you keeping these?
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, he's
like-
got to go to all these dollar stores and find them.
But like, where are you keeping all these VHSs? That's so much space.
Well, I mean, do you want a visual?
Sure. Do you have one?
We've got a hidden visual of the masked man here. There he is, and he blocked out his face. He wants to remain anonymous so far, but there it is. That's a whole row.
That's a lot of
He's
copies.
got 5 because there's one on top of it. He's got 5 full rows so far.
Do you think this guy watches other movies? Do you think he knows other movies?
Well, he must know Jaws because he's got Jaws on his shirt. So
he strictly watches boat and ocean movies.
Yes, that's it. His expertise is boat and
wait
ocean
a second.
movies.
Is this movie set on land? I can't watch this trash.
Where's the boat?
I don't see any boats in this.
Where's the boat, man? You promised me a boat in this show.
He turns on, like, I don't know, any classic cinema. He turns on The Godfather or Citizen Kane.
That's his reaction if there's no boat in the
That's
movie.
what happens. You turn on a cinema classic like The Godfather and it just freaks out.
No, I'm gonna fucking kill you, motherfucker, old style.
Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna kill you old style off of a boat.
Right. Unbelievable.
Yes, he can only watch boat movies.
Titanic. But so, oh my God, we're gonna unearth this stupid argument again. But like, Titanic's not that good. Okay, I'm sorry, it's just not.
Okay, you have your opinion.
It's just not. It's just not. They both could have fit on the door.
No.
It's everybody knows what happens in the end. And also, this lady makes the worst decision of her entire life. She lives a full life. She loves her family. But then she's like, oh, but remember that guy I banged on the boat that one time, like 50 years ago?
Look.
Like, forget you, family, and throws a priceless gem into the ocean. Completely stupid. Worst decision.
It must have been a hell of a bang. All right, that's all I'm saying.
I guess so.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
Look, when you have legendary bangs,
I mean,
that will affect you.
They did steam up that one vehicle.
Yes. You knew there was some serious stuff going on. That hand comes up on the window.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, whoa, what's happening?
Oh, man.
Look away. Uh-oh. Mind your business. Bye. Keep up the good work.
It was very intense. Keep up the good work? What? Who's saying this? Somebody walking by?
Whoa, okay, bye. Keep up the good work.
Yes. Good show. Carry on.
Oh my God! Yes, it would have been one of those British Starliner employees.
Yes.
Yep.
Very good. Carry on.
Jolly good show. Very
God
good.
save the Queen. I don't like what. What is happening in your version of Titanic? Did you have a bootleg version of Titanic? Did you ever watch the actual movie?
Yeah, I had the deleted scene where
right.
there's just a creepy guy watching in like the corner, like,
yeah,
ooh.
yes.
Yes. Ooh, a jolly good show over there. Yes. Yep.
Oh my! I do see a hand. I say. Oh, it is a very steamy hand. Oh, there must be some jolly good shenanigans going on in the back of that car. Oh my! Pass the tea. Oh yes. Oh, the tea does hit different when you're watching this. I broke Rich.
Oh yes. Pass the tea and crumpets, won't you? We've got another 500 miles to go, chap. This is going to get boring real fast if you don't pick up the pace.
Oh, she can sink my iceberg. That didn't make any sense.
Oh, my God. Not yet. They didn't hit the iceberg yet.
Yeah.
You're jumping ahead of the movie.
Jumping ahead.
You don't realize the movie that you're
oh, my God.
I'm
lightheaded now.
That was, I don't know.
Titanic.
Boy,
what a movie.
I don't even. Should I just jump back into the story? I don't know.
You do you.
I don't even know where to go from here.
I mean, that's it. He wanted to collect every copy.
He's going to. His mission continues.
Okay. Very valiant mission.
Yep. So he has found out that according to the manufacturing company that produced the VHS copies of Titanic, that 25 million
oh my God
copies were sold. He says that his first aim is to get 1,997 in honor of the year that Titanic was released.
What in the world?
So
this is like some super fan BS. I don't know. I can't get behind this.
Yeah, I don't know. Why not? If it's his favorite movie, why not? You know, go for it. What else are you going to do with all these VHS tapes?
Okay. Would you collect every VHS copy of The Godfather?
I don't know.
How about Star Wars?
Maybe with Star Wars, maybe. Because,
really?
Well, because there's those.
There's so many different kinds.
Right.
There's the silver one. There's the gold
original
one.
Yeah. There's a lot of different copies.
There's the Blu-ray remastered. There's
Yeah. Actually, that's different. Yeah. There are different formats of the Star Wars movies.
But you don't need every copy of every version. You just need one version of each copy.
I don't know why not. You could.
It takes up even more space. There's a three VHS set.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I'm still in the room. I'm still in the steerage on Titanic.
You're still in the snap out of it, Rich.
I don't know.
Stop thinking about the hand.
I'm sorry. You knew that hand came up. There was some serious stuff happening. So
Rich literally cannot compose himself.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
I also, just a great quote to follow up that. He said that his first 12 VHS tapes of Titanic came when he entered a Suncoast liquidation at a mall in Clearwater. And he says that, quote, right then and there, I knew that was going to be the start of something magical.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
So, wow, this was destined to be.
It was destined to be.
Right then and there. He says that he is open to all submissions and that he has received packages as far away as Australia.
But that's pretty much as far away as you can get.
So, he says as far as he is aware, he has, quote, drained Tampa Bay of all of its copies.
Oh, I hate that.
That's a
weird way.
Weird way to phrase that.
I don't know. That makes me uncomfortable. I've drained Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
I don't know. This guy sounds creepy.
Well, yeah, I guess between the fact that he wants to remain anonymous and that he's doing this, I could see a little creepiness
and
factor.
He's draining Tampa Bay.
And he's draining Tampa Bay. Yeah, this is weird. This is definitely a little weird. But you know what? You do you. I disagree with Mike. Titanic is a fantastic movie. It's one of my secret favorite movies
because of the car scene.
But man, that damn car scene.
That hand.
Woo. Yeah, when you see that hand come up. Yep.
The windows of the car are getting foggy, as are Rich's glasses.
Yeah. Keep up the good work. That's all I have to say. I salute you. Keep up the good work.
God bless. Godspeed.
Yes. And there you go. That is all I have for you in the non-fortune cookie odd news. And with that, we got to start wrapping this up. I think you might have cracked my voice on that. I'm starting to feel a little verklempt over here. So
no.
So yeah, we need to start wrapping this up. If you've made it this far and you've liked the show and you've enjoyed our crazy banter, make sure you go to our YouTube page, our Facebook Live page, or Facebook Watch page, or our Spotify page. Between those three avenues, you can see previous episodes of the Crispy Noodle podcast. Also on Spotify, if you put the app on in the background, you can listen to us audio, just on the audio as well. So you can listen to us as a traditional podcast still as well. But make sure you are subscribed to those three things. Us on Spotify, us on YouTube, and us on Facebook Live, Facebook Watch.
Absolutely. So many great ways to check out the Crispy Noodle podcast. If you want to get in touch with us individually, you can find us on Twitter, where you can send us your sports, entertainment, or odd news stories, and we can, maybe feature it on the show and give you a shout out. So reach out to us on Twitter. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
And I am at Rich Liebig, RichLiebig. Make sure to send those submissions in. We'll give you a sausage shout out, not just any shout out.
That's
right. A sausage shout out.
A highly coveted sausage shout out.
Yes. So if you have something that you want us to talk about on next week's episode, send it our way. Odd news comes my way so that Mikey doesn't see it. That'll do it. Also, let us know what you think of some of the things Mike mentioned in This Week in Entertainment that you followed. Or did you take any advice from the Fantastic Four picks? Let us know. Hopefully we're doing something right.
At some point we got to get it right.
Right. So either let us know if you followed our advice and you made money, or you got popular with your friends, or what have you. Just let us know how we did. But for right now, we got to wrap it up. This has been the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. You got anything else, Mike? I think that'll do it.
Go steam up those car windows.
That's right. Have some fun. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys
later. Bye-bye, all you fine peoples. Good night.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.